Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you about Discogs disappointments. Recently, I made a video talking about how my vinyl buying habits have changed, and I was overwhelmed by the response for so many people who were saying the price of vinyl has just become too expensive. They're either moving on to CDs, they're no longer buying vinyl, or they're buying very limited quantities of vinyl. I'm kind of in that third area, not really because of the expense, it's just because I've been buying for so long. I've now gotten my fill, and yes, vinyl has become more expensive. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Records that at one time I championed and really loved, thought they were a great value, and now on Discogs there are a huge price disappointment, and I'll explain a little about each one of them as they come along because they all have a different story. So also at the end I'm going to show you something that's a little bit of the opposite, a record I paid a lot more for, I should say a box set, that's dropped in value. And I can't say I'm mad about it because it gives access to other people to own it for a very cheap price. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. This is one that a couple of years ago I championed, and I said, if you get the chance to get it, buy it, because it's such a fantastic deal. Great sounding records, beautiful album covers. Everything about this box set was spot on. Talking about Bob Dylan, the original mono recordings. Now this originally came out back in 2010. They had numbered editions. They repressed it. It's getting a little long in the tooth. It's been around for quite a while. And yet I just discovered it a couple of years ago, and I want to give credit where credit's due. I watched Rachel from the channel Rachel's Ghost. She made a video because she had bought this box set and was so impressed about the sound quality for what she paid for it. She thought it was a great one and she shared it with all of us. I looked it up on Amazon and I realized, wow, this is a great value. You were getting 8 records or albums, 9 in total because Blonde on Blonde is a 2 LP set. And I think I paid probably $110, $120 for this box set. And according to this hype sticker, it's deluxe packaging, all analog, 180 gram audiophile vinyl. Everything about it is really great. The sound quality, the album covers, everything's spot on. So I was so glad that I saw Rachel's video. I ordered it, I bought it myself, and this was at a time when the MoFi or Mobile Fidelity records were on the secondary market. They were no longer in print. The retail price was no longer available. They were selling from $150 to $200 each. So when you consider $110 to $120 for a box set versus $150 for just one of the records, and the sound quality was virtually the same, I thought this box set was a no-brainer and a wonderful one to have. So I really promoted it, and so did so many people. Well, now it is out of print, hopefully. It is awaiting repress, but I don't know. It, like I said, originally came out in 2010. It may be done. There may not be another run. The sad part of this is it now sells for over $400 on Discogs. And what's disappointing when you see something like that on Discogs is if someone brings this into a record store and a record store is trying to figure out a price to charge for this, a lot of record stores are going to Discogs for their pricing. They may not use Discogs completely, but it's a gauge. And I'll admit, I'm guilty too. If I go to a record store and I see a record that I'm interested in, I do look up the value of what it sells for on Discogs to know whether the price at the record store is a fair price. So I get it, and I'm not complaining. At the same time, it's so disappointing because Discogs prices just really are crazy. What once was a beautiful price of $110, $120, and I realize I got a steal on it, I would just settle. I wish this would come out again at the retail price. I think the retail price is probably somewhere $200 and $250, not $400. So it would be really nice to get this one back in print for a fair price. Let me show you the records. Look how young Bob Dylan was here. Here he's over 80 years old now, but that was the original Bob Dylan record. Then we get the Free Will and Bob Dylan. And as you can tell, these are very sturdy album covers. Some glossy when they are supposed to be. This one has a matte finish just like the original did. The times they are a-changin'. Another side of Bob Dylan. And what's cool now is at the time all of the Mobile Fidelity records were out of print. You can now buy this one. It's back in stock, I think, at Mobile Fidelity for the retail price. So you don't have to pay the exorbitant price for that one. This is unbelievably good. Maybe my favorite Bob Dylan record. This is right when he got into his electric era, out of the folk song era and into electric. I really love this one. This one has Like a Rolling Stone. It's Highway 61 Revisited. Beautiful songs. Great album. Blonde on Blonde, and in this box set they did it right. Glossy cover, you can see it's a gatefold, 2 LPs, wonderful, and it finishes out with Bob Dylan's John Wesley Harding. So that is a box set that I hope comes back in print, and I hope that brings down the price right to a retail price, because over $400, wow, it's so disappointing because at a time, just a couple of years ago, it was affordable. So now let's go ahead and move on to another record that I think is absolutely wonderful, a little overpriced now on Discogs. If we could just go back and have it back in stock, that would be great. I'm talking about Billy Joel's Greatest Hits, Volume 1, Volume 2. This is the Mobile Fidelity version. This sounds absolutely wonderful. All of Billy Joel's greatest hits, and I can remember a day when I would go to the record store and Billy Joel records were $3 to $5 all day, every day. The Greatest Hits album was $20, just for the regular, not the Mobile Fidelity version. But the Mobile Fidelity version retail was really affordable. And now, if you want to go on Discogs, last sold for $280 and on average sells for $300. Wow, and it is 3 LPs, so you're thinking, it's $100 per LP. And this is Billy's fault, Billy Joel's fault. One of my favorite songs isn't even on this Greatest Hits LP. I love the song An Innocent Man. Let's trade the song You're Only Human Second Wind and put An Innocent Man on here because I think that's so gorgeous. And the Mobile Fidelity version of that song is absolutely beautiful. This is a great box set. And I hope it comes back into print. I don't know that it will. I know that The Stranger came into print late last year. We'll see. Again, that's one of those that I think if you don't want to own every single Billy Joel record, but you can have that version of it, be great. Now, if you want to own one that's not the Mobile Fidelity version, it's still going to run you to get one in really good shape, $50 to $80. So that price, just really, really crazy. Next up, an artist that, everywhere she goes, everything's expensive. And I want to know how Swifties have the money for everything, because the ticket sales for concerts were a huge scandal. Absolutely outrageous prices. And these records I'm about to show, again, outrageous. Discogs disappointments. And a lot of her fans, I'm talking about Taylor Swift, this is the album Red. This is the Black Friday version of this record. A lot of her fans are very young and they're college graduates. They're paying their college loans off, trying to buy a house, trying to buy a car, trying to just get by. And this record, this is a Record Store Day record that came out in 2018, Black Friday Record Store Day. It's not extremely limited. There were 7,000 copies. They're handwritten right here. Worldwide, 7,000 copies. When it comes to Record Store Day, that's not an extremely low number. I guess when it comes to Taylor Swift fans, it must be extremely low. This last sold for $700. That's really disappointing because I know there's a lot of really great Taylor Swift fans that would love to have it. And, it's just what makes it different than the regular black vinyl version. It's a clear vinyl version. Nothing that great. Clear vinyl's pretty common nowadays. It's not that exciting. If it was something, a color with some splatter on it, I get it. But a clear vinyl version, $700. That's a lot of money for a Taylor Swift fan, especially when you consider her concert tickets and how much they are going for. Here's another one that's a Taylor Swift one. This is the most expensive single I own. I bought this one for Record Store Day, Black Friday 2022. It's now a $120 record. That's what it's going for on Discogs for a single. I think that's kind of crazy. So you Swiftie fans, tell me this. This is her original Red album, and she's making her own Taylor's versions of these. Would she be disappointed to know any of you fans are spending that kind of money on these records? I know she had a battle and she has decided to make her own versions of these records. I understand a lot of people want these original versions. That's what they grew up on. They're nostalgic. No arguments. I get it. But wow, that's a lot of money, and it's disappointing. If you are someone who's into vinyl and you want people to continue to get into vinyl and you see prices like that, it's very discouraging. Here is another one, the really great Freddie Hubbard. This is Red Clay. Now this is one that was recommended to me. My husband and I, a couple of years ago, lived in Colorado for a few months. It was a business trip we had to take. It was great, and I loved Colorado. It was such a beautiful place. I went to a record store in Colorado Springs, and it was the first person that ever recognized me from my channel. When I went in this record store, one of the other customers said, "I know you from your vinyl channel." So that was kind of a thrill. Well, he recommended I get Freddie Hubbard's Red Clay album. So I just went online, found this record. This is a reissue. It was limited to 1,000 copies. I wasn't really paying that much attention to it at the time. I just knew it was an all analog version of it, and I bought it. CTI records, though, in general, tend to be very inexpensive. You can find originals for $10 to $20 all day, every day. I don't know if Red Clay is an exception and it's hard to find, but usually the rule is the CTI records are very inexpensive. This particular version, remastered, limited to 1,000 copies. The last one sold for $175. Look for an original. Do not pay that much money for this record. Yes, it's a good record, but CTI records tend to be fairly cheap. This is one I bought. I think I paid $8 for. Wes Montgomery, A Day in the Life, an absolutely wonderful record. I have passed on CTI records that are around the $10 to $20 mark. They're usually very, very affordable, and I don't understand why someone paid $175 for that record. Now, I understand, a lot of you are going to say, that's capitalism. It's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And I get that. I really do. I understand that's the way it goes. But in a perfect world, it's frustrating to see all these prices. And, because you want everybody to be able to get the records they want. And there's just some records that are becoming off limits. It's discouraging vinyl collectors who are starting out. It's just kind of sad. This is another one that the sound quality on this record is not good at all. And yet, this record is last sold for $150 on Discogs. I consider that a Discogs disappointment. And I would even say this is a record I even listen to that much anymore. This is Kelly Clarkson's Breakaway. I bought it out of nostalgia. My daughter, this was the first concert she ever went to. Kelly Clarkson, Clay Aiken, they were both on American Idol, very popular at the time. She was singing her new songs from this album. Breakaway was a hit. Since You've Been Gone, Behind These Hazel Eyes, Just Walk Away. She had a tremendous voice, as she still does. She's still really great. But I remember there was a moment in the concert where she was barefoot. She plopped up on a piano and sang with just a piano this beautiful version of a song called Beautiful Disaster. And that was why I bought this record. But this record, the sound quality is horrible on it. It's just not good at all. It's an Urban Outfitters record. You are better off to just stick with streaming it or buying the CD. It last sold for $150. It had to be for sentimental reasons, the same reason why I bought it when it first came out. But I can only imagine you spend that much money on this record, put it on the turntable, and just, blah. It's just lifeless, in my opinion. So, again, another Discogs disappointment. And unfortunately, with a lot of these records, if they come into a record store and they are pricing these records, they use Discogs as a gauge. Maybe not necessarily what they end up pricing the record, but it's a gauge that so many record stores use. And finally, now this one, it hurts me in a way because I took a hit on this box set. However, this is a box set that's easily affordable. I bought it. I paid $100 for it at the time. But I have since seen it at Walmart, Target, easily available on Discogs. I've even seen this box set at the Dollar General store. What box set am I talking about? It is Garth Brooks' Legacy. We have all seen this one. They made a bunch of them. When it was first announced, they kind of gave you the impression it was going to be an exclusive and you had to go online and buy it. And it took me hours to place my order for this. It was $100. Garth was on, I forget what it was called, but he was on there promoting it. And I loved Garth Brooks in the early 90s, and these records are wonderful. But after that, they just kept putting them out and putting them out. And $100, when I first bought it, is now you can buy this box set for $20 on Discogs. I don't know of any better value than that unless you just really don't like Garth Brooks. And you have to like country to some degree to get this one. It comes with a lot of the Garth Brooks albums. And I really hope that more come out because I do like Garth Brooks. I'd love to have more of his albums. These are some of the classics. Garth Brooks, No Fences. The song Friends in Low Places. If you've ever been to a wedding, you have heard that song. And there's also The Thunder Rolls, Two of a Kind, Working on a Full House, and Unanswered Prayers is a beautiful song on that album. We also have The Chase. And this one is also We Shall Be Free is a wonderful one. Somewhere Other Than the Night. My favorite on here is Learning to Live Again. No, my favorite is Every Now and Then. That is a beautiful, heartbreaking song. There's also Dixie Chicken that was also from Little Feat. He did a really cool remake of it. Really wonderful album. In Pieces, Ain't Going Down to the Sun Comes Up, Callin' Baton Rouge. Just a really great one here. I love this record. Fresh Horses, and it has Rollin', The Change, The Beaches of Cheyenne, She's Every Woman. And it also has a live concert. This one, they've put it in a packaging for the Ryman, and CDs. So you're getting a lot for the money when it comes to this Garth Brooks box set. $20, you can buy it on Discogs very, very easily, very affordable. Why so cheap? I have a theory. I really feel like when it comes to Garth Brooks, he's never wanted to overcharge people for his music. He's always been one to fight for lower prices. I also think he wants to be the best-selling artist of all time, and I believe he is. The best-selling band of all time is the Beatles, and I think the best-selling solo artist of all time is Garth Brooks. I think he wants to cement his place in history, and if he can overtake the Beatles by making this box set with all of the CDs and all of these albums and charge such little money, if it overtakes the Beatles, he's okay with that. I think he'd like to do that. Personally, don't want that to happen because I think the Beatles deserve to be the best-selling band of all time, best-selling music of all time should be the Beatles. That's just where I stand on that. Let me know what you think. Do you find these prices disappointing? Is there something that's in your collection that you think everybody should be able to own, but unfortunately the prices are now out of reach? I would love to hear that. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. It all helps. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.